All right, since 93 Sports back with another one. So it's been a while, man, but I had to get my thoughts on this Adrien Broner fight, man. But I want to get into the undercard fights. First off, we had Gervonta Davis versus Jesus Cuellar or whatever, and I kind of had a little bit higher hopes for this fight. I thought Cuellar would be more of a challenge to Davis, even though Cuellar was coming off of a long layoff, and the defeat at a lower weight class, versus a guy in Tank Davis who's definitely a full 130 pounder and possibly a 135 pounder in the near future. But Davis looked extremely sharp in there. This is probably like one of the first fights where you see him and he looks special. One of those fighters where he's not a fighter to where he just looks like a basically highly trained fighter. He looks like he got something special there. And I mean his reflexes, his timing, everything was on point. He's attacking the body instinctively when he's hurting the guy, and I mean he's doing everything you want to see out of a skilled fighter. Even though his antics outside of the ring, criticizing other fighters, you got to give him his props as far as him being a talented fighter. And hey man, he's saying he wants the Billy Dib versus Farmer winner. He could take that, try to unify the division, and then move up to 35. I definitely think he can compete with a lot of guys up there at 135 and be competitive and probably beat a whole bunch of those guys. Because he's a big dude and he knows how to get in the inside. But let's get into the Centeno Charlo fight. Leading up to the fight, the guy Centeno, he's saying how he's a natural 160 pounder and how he's got that advantage. He's taller, longer. When I see the guy, he in my opinion, he didn't look like the naturally bigger guy. Charlo looked like the naturally bigger guy, and it showed itself in the fight. Charlo was the bigger, stronger puncher, fighter. Overall in this fight, I think the movement in the first round it threw Charlo off. I definitely can say that the movement in the first round threw Charlo off. You can equate that to Charlo figuring the guy out, or things of that nature. But Charlo looked, kind of awkward in there when he was trying to figure out how to, track this guy down. Eventually, he tracked the guy down, caught him with some shots, and that was the end of the night. But it had me thinking, in that Danny Jacobs fight, Danny Jacobs is going to be a guy who's going to be able to move better than that guy Centeno, and he's going to be coming back with heavy shots. So, that gives you some thought into that potential matchup, and it's definitely going to be extremely competitive. And right now, I got Jacobs, having the edge, but who knows? Charlo's a heavy puncher, and he's very skilled, so that could be a toss up. And let's go ahead and get into the main event. We had Adrien Broner versus Jesse Vargas, a fight to where a lot of guys in the know, very experienced guys, when it comes to boxing, knowledgeable. They wasn't picking Adrien Broner. They was picking Jesse Vargas. Just because he's a guy who we know what he's gonna bring. We know he's gonna be disciplined. He's gonna prepare for the fight in the manner that he needs to. And with Adrien Broner, he has the talent, but you don't know if he's gonna display that. You don't know if he's gonna let his hands go. You don't know if he's eating right. You don't know if he's gonna have stuff going on outside the ring. Pointless beefs with what 19, 20-year-old rappers. So that's the thing with Broner. But in this fight, Broner could have won this fight way more convincingly. He didn't win the fight. It was a draw, and I agree with it. I can't remember, somebody who I listened to on YouTube predicted the draw. I can't remember who it was, but it was a draw. But Broner took over the last half of the fight. If Broner fought the entire fight, how he fought the last 6 rounds, he could have won this fight easy, and he possibly could have stopped Jesse Vargas. Okay, because he was touching Vargas when Broner let his hands go. He was touching Vargas, But then you had the beginning of the fight, the first half of the fight. Vargas was able to just unleash jab to the body whenever he wanted. So I don't know, man. Maybe we will get and we'll get a rematch. But I mean, I don't know, man. Broner, he just don't seem like he got the 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 killer instinct. There's plenty of times he had Vargas, on the ropes, ready to go, and he couldn't pull the trigger. You know, and you can't teach somebody how to have a killer instinct. But Broner's in uh, a, um, a crazy situation right now. He's stuck in between 140 and 147. I can't see him defeating any of the elite level 47 pounders. Maybe
But
he
yeah,
could,
maybe he could
snatch
beat
a title
one of those
at
140 pounders down there. Maybe he could get Mikey Garcia strap that he recently vacated. I don't know, man, but after every Broner fight, you always thinking like, man, he's in a tough spot. He can barely make 140. He struggles to make 144. You seen he had to get down bare to make 44. So I mean it's crazy. So he can't beat any elite guy at 147. There's a few guys. There's a few guys at the top level he could be down there at 140, but they're definitely competitive and risky fights. Who do you put him in there with next? Do you give him the Vargas rematch? But at this point, I would think he would have confidence that Vargas can't hurt him, and maybe he would fight the first half of the fight like he fought the second half of the fight here. Even though he had a good second half of the fight, he could have stopped Jesse Vargas, like I said before. Vargas was sitting there in times and he was tired, and Broner didn't really jump on him like he needed to. It's like Broner will wait for the last minute. Broner will wait for when it hits the minute mark in the round. That's when he starts fighting. If he fight like that the whole fight, like he was, when he knew that he was down and he had to come back, he should have been fighting like that the whole fight. I like his new trainer. He's actually telling Broner what he needs to hear. It had a slight effect on the fight. I definitely think it forced Broner to realize what was going on and not just ignore it. That, hey man, it's a close fight. You probably losing. You need to let your hands go. Okay, you sitting there blocking shots and shit and not returning fire. You making a miss, but you ain't making a pay. So he's telling them all the right stuff. But I don't know, man. Broner, he definitely not beating these top guys at welterweight. Jesse Vargas, the way he allowed Broner, to fight when he wanted to, come back in the second half of the fight. If Vargas don't have enough power to, like, if you put Vargas in there with a real welterweight, they not like I like it was certain times in the fight like I'm like, Broner, why are you like respecting this guy? Like, he can't punch. You know what I'm saying? Walk this dude down. And it was sometimes when he did walk him down, it just didn't have no regard for his power. But you put him up in there with a real welterweight, they feel Jesse Vargas punches, man. They gonna walk this dude down, man. And that's what it's gonna be, man. You put him up in there with Earl Spence, man. It's gonna be like a fucking lion, eating dinner. You know what I'm saying? So, we know what it is, man. Vargas is food for those top welterweights. He'll give him, he'll give him competitive fights. You'll know that he's, giving it his all. It was times in the fight. I might have already said this, but he was getting to the body on Broner, man. Broner was allowing him to throw these jabs to the body whenever he wanted to. So it is what it is, man. This was a improvement for Broner. He definitely let his hands go, and hopefully he can keep improving, man, and possibly get some more titles down there at 140. Because you gonna have to wait till that 147 division clear out if you want to go up there and play around. But that's my thoughts, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified when all my latest content drops. And I'm out.